This is Curt with eTrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Benton Shifts&Grins 2-bike platform rack, and we're going to see how it interacts with our 2021 Buick Encore. Now, a hitch-mounted bike rack is an excellent way to get your bikes to and from the trail. The other options you would have would be a rooftop-mounted bike rack, which is nice, but they could be a lot of trouble getting your bike up and down off of it, especially if you have a heavier bike like an e-bike. And the other option would be a trunk-mounted bike rack, and those could be a bit of a pain to set up and take off, as well as limit the function to your liftgate or tailgate or trunk. So a hitch bike rack is a great way to be able to do that. And the Shifts&Grins checks off a lot of boxes. One, first and foremost for me, is versatility. It can adapt to a variety of sizes and shapes in your bike. It can be mounted two different ways. It could be wheel mounted like it is now. If you have a carbon fiber frame or a special paint job or anything where you don't want the frame really to have contact with anything, the wheel mount is an excellent option. Or if you have a bike that has fenders and you can't use the wheel mount, you can remove the hook from the post, bring it back here to the frame, and lock it in that way as well. So with that kind of versatility as far as the style of your bike, this will go a really long way. The Shifts&Grins also has a weight capacity of 55 pounds per bike. So that's going to accommodate a lot of those e-bikes that are out there on the market today. Now, as far as how it fits our Encore, one of the first things I always take a look at is what kind of space do I have between the bike and the vehicle. And in the case of the Encore, I think we have plenty. The bike we have on here today is one of the biggest that we have in the shop. It has 15.5-inch handlebars and some oversized pedals. And as you can see, even if we're on kind of a rougher terrain on the way to the trail or from it, we're really not in any danger of the bike making contact with the back of the vehicle. We're going to take a measurement from the bumper to the furthest point on the bike rack. And what we're going to end up with there is about 29.5 inches. So keep that in mind. You've got about 2.5 feet extra back here that you're going to have to account for when you're trying to back into a tighter space or even parallel park. The other thing we want to take a look at is our ground clearance. So from the furthest point on the bike rack, our ground clearance is going to come in right at around 15.5 inches. Now normally I would say that that's fine, but we do have the bike rack being a bit further away from the bumper, so just keep in mind that you've got, that much clearance back here when you come upon a steeper incline or driveway. I also mentioned that this bike carrier can accommodate bikes up to 55 pounds. So in order to be able to lift your bike up into the wheel cups, you should be comfortable with lifting it at just a hair over 19 inches to be able to get it up and down off the bike rack safely. Now, one of the most common questions we come across with a hitch bike rack is, will you have access to your lift gate? And in the case of Shifts&Grins and our Encore, we will. So what we're going to do is grab onto our bike to brace it. We're going to depress this button here that's at the end of our rack, and we're going to slowly lower it away from our lift gate. And with it in this position, we're able to come over, open our lift gate with plenty of clearance. Now we have access to our cargo area. We can get in and out of here and get water, supplies, our helmet, change our shoes, whatever it may be. Or maybe on the way home from the trail, you decide to stop and do some shopping and you got some groceries. Now you don't have to remove the bike from the rack in order to get access to your cargo area. And in order to get it back into position, we don't have to engage that button. All we want to do is brace the bike, grab it from the bottom, and tilt it back until it clicks. The button will pop back out, and now we're locked back into our riding position. Loading up the bike and unloading it is really, really simple. There are 3 points of contact. We talked a little bit about this post and hook. We also have 2 wheel straps, one on each wheel, with a rubber pad on it that's going to help protect our wheels. So we're just going to go ahead and depress this button, release our strap, feed it back through the wheel, and clear it out of our way. We're going to do the same thing on our rear wheel here. Now it's important to note that when loading the bike, unloading the bike, when we're loading the bike, we want to engage the arm first to help keep it upright. Unloading, we're going to do it last, obviously. So at this point, we're going to depress the button here on our hook, lift this up on the post, clear it out of the way of the wheel, and now we're able to remove our bike, and we could either store it away or hit the trail. what are we going to do with it when we don't have a bike on here? Well, this bike rack weighs at about 63.5 pounds, so it's pretty hefty. It's probably not something you're going to want to remove and put back in your hitch every time you want to take a ride, especially if that's frequent. It does have a stowaway position. We're going to engage this same button here, but instead of letting it fall away, we're going to lift up against it instead. We're going to let it click into place. Now we have it up in our stowed position. We're going to have full visibility out of the back. Other drivers are going to be able to see our taillights just fine. We might catch a little bit of this in our rear view camera, but generally speaking, it's not really going to give us any issues. So if after watching this video, you decide that the Benton Shifts&Grins is the bike rack for you, you get it, you use it a few times, please, we encourage you to share any information you have or any kind of opinions you have on it in the comments below. We would love to share your experience with our other neighbors so they can make the best decision for themselves. Once again, I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.